Well, good morning and welcome to the Underhood Show. My name's Josh Profit and I'm the service director here at Mel Hamilton Ford. Alongside me this morning, I have Scotty Gurman. Good morning, Scotty.
Morning. How's everybody doing?
Sunny
And 70.
and 70. So we're a couple minutes late here. Sorry about the delays. We had a little Oompa Loompa syndrome going on in this studio. So we were trying to get the red out. We both looked like we'd spent a week on a beach. So anyway, sorry about the delay, a little technical difficulties, but hey, this is a call-in show. 316-462-3673. The number's on the bottom of the screen there. Call in. Let's talk about anything automotive. So anything maintenance related. You want to talk about new product lines or got an automotive story of any sorts that you want to share with us today, 316-462-3673. If it's a technical question and we can't answer it, or we don't get to some sort of resolution for you, been known to throw in a diagnosis from time to time as well. But for each and every caller that calls into the show, send you out a great prize package. It's over $205 in value, but it consists of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hamilton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on that vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components that are tied to that vehicle. You'll also get yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5, or excuse me, I've been a little while since we did the CF5, but it's 44K for your fuel system. Again, getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673, and give away some stuff while Phil's not here. So.
Yeah, no kidding. When the cat's away, the mice will play.
There you go. So I've got a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about this morning on the show. So one of them is related to something that I just really kind of talked about, and that is a part of a group for Ford, and they're really talking about the customers that return to a Ford dealer after purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a nationwide deal. It's a group that, again, it's a nationwide thing.
You're talking about the percentage of customers that return back to the dealership.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the perception out there, and it has been for years and years and years, but just dealerships are generally more expensive, and customers, for the most part, I think the stats are a little over half. Customers will come to the dealership, but then basically, there's around 48% of people that won't. You've been in the aftermarket side of things on this industry as well. And so from just a perspective of working in both the aftermarket portion of it and the dealership side of it, like talk about the expense of things. So just overall goods and services, and so our dealerships more expensive?
No, they're not, and it's not even close. I've been in both, and I don't know, maybe I'm the outlier. I have no idea, but at least in my experience, and I'm kind of on 20 years of being in the industry, and the aftermarket shops typically are more expensive in multiple facets. Just the maintenance side, it tends to be more expensive, and then especially in the larger repairs, typically to be more expensive. Just the technology and stuff like that has gotten so crazy with newer vehicles and warranty repairs and stuff like that. But in the aftermarket industry, I've especially over being in it now for 20 years, they're typically going to be more expensive.
Yeah, it's and I will say, just calling around, when we do price comparisons just about on everything.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen invoices, and it blows me away. It really does blow me away. But also, being in the dealership environment, being in the dealership environment, the training from the technician side, what the knowledge that goes into, like these guys, especially, when you're model specific, on the aftermarket side, the tendency to work on maybe much older vehicles
yeah, that's a big difference. But what I was kind of getting at, I guess, or maybe I didn't put the emphasis on it, was that the value that you get out of going to the dealership it's not even close. Like the amount that you pay and the value that you're getting compared to an aftermarket shop, of the value and what you're paying, it's not even comparable.
So we got Dylan is online chatting with us here. Good morning, Dylan.
Good morning.
And then looks like he needs a 5-liter. There's a long list of people that want a 5-liter for sure.
Can I convince you for a 3.5?
Yeah, I tell you, the 5-liter engines, as far as horsepower and some of the stuff that they do, and as they add performance parts on them, just the stock motor will withstand so much for sure.
That's true.
We got Delbert with us as well. Good morning, Delbert.
Good morning, Delbert.
So anyways, where I was headed with this is, so on this group of Ford dealers that I was on the call last week, Ford was talking about, maybe changing their marketing campaigns a little bit from the works to just an oil change. Not meaning that you don't need to do the works or the tire rotation, but to put an advertised price out there for a cheaper dollar amount to basically attract more customers. But I don't, and I stood up and I spoke, in regards to this whole deal and everything like that. And so where I'm going with this is really not, I mean, it is refraining from the works or talking about the works, but if you're listening, when you need a service, so let's keep it automotive related, but you don't, so brakes, we were discussing brakes, right?
Yeah.
And quoting brakes. So a customer calls up and says, I need brakes, how much to do this? And everybody, a lot of the aftermarkets or independents offer some sort of price for, say, installing pads. Well, okay, is it do you advertise that price for the installing the pads? Do you advertise the price for installing the pads, turning the rotors? Do you advertise the price for, and my point of contention was, you don't know what that customer needs,
right,
until you look at the vehicle. So quoting something over the phone, like, all you're doing in doing that is trying to get somebody to come in based on a price that you're telling them that you don't even know if that's the price they need.
Yeah.
And my point of contention was, you have to sell the visit.
Yeah.
We need to look at your vehicle, do a multi-point inspection on it, a complete inspection, so exactly, where your rotors are, where your pad linings are. Do you have a stuck caliper? What is exactly going on? And I said, you have to build the value and trust.
We call that rapport.
Yeah. In that portion of it, and make that customer, even show them, take them back in the shop, do a video of it. Like, there's so much that goes along with it, rather than just throwing out a cheap price to draw a customer in.
Oh yeah.
Because in my mind, that's not fair when you quote something over the phone, or you throw a cheap price out there, you draw them in, and then it changes.
Yeah.
And then it goes from this to this to this to this.
Yep, I agree.
So as a consumer, I mean, what would you rather have?
I want somebody who's honest and trustworthy.
Understood.
Every single time.
Understood.
And so if I call somebody and they give me a price and I go there, and then all of a sudden, whenever I'm cashing out, it's hundreds of dollars more expensive, I'm going to be a little upset, as opposed to somebody that's honest with me and says, hey, let's get it in here. Let's look at it together. Because I'm a show and tell guy. I love when I can go, customers with me, and I can go out to the car and I was like, okay, here's the deal. This is what we got to do. This is what it's going to take. We need to replace this part, this part, this part, and this is how long it's going to take. Let's figure out, what we can do, and go from there, and then give them a price. If it's agreed upon, great, awesome, fix a car. I like somebody who's honest with me. Same thing with somebody coming over to my house and doing
a
a
heating and air guy,
yeah,
plumbing
same
guy,
thing. Like,
you know.
they're gonna come up to you and say, "Here, come downstairs with me. I'm gonna show you what we got going on." Exact same thing needs to be in the automotive industry, and that's what we do. I think at a pretty darn good way, in my opinion. So
Yeah, so got definitely a couple comments here. So one is not everyone is in need of a rotation or air filter tune-up, but always good to suggest it when see it needs to happen.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that. I mean, I can think of rotation, for example,
Yeah,
in
tire
staggered
rotation.
size.
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah, big
Like,
time. Yeah,
not all vehicles have the exact same tires size on it, front to rear. But also in my mind, when we went from the 3,000 mile service interval to the 5,000 mile
Yep.
service interval, like that service includes a tire rotation.
Correct.
When it was 3,000, it was an every other deal.
Right.
But when we moved that interval because of the, oil being better and the filter quality being better and stuff like that, that's part of that service is that tire rotation.
Right. But the tire rotation is not just a tire rotation. The tire rotation is taking the tires off so we can look at everything else that's behind them. So the brakes, the brake pads, things like that helps our technicians be able to spot anything that could potentially be a problem coming up. And so that's the value in that. I had a guy that came in yesterday and he's like, and he had a maintenance plan. So it's free of charge. And he's like, "I'm getting tires tomorrow. You don't need to do the tire rotation." And I told him, and I was just like, "Well, Ford's paying for it anyway, but at the same time, I want to take the tires off to look at your brakes because I can't see them." And he's like, "Oh, well, in that case, yeah, go for it." Like, that's the value. The value is the inspection that comes with it. And so that's why our services, our works package comes with that, is not just to rotate the tires, it's to be able to inspect other things with the tires being off. So
yeah, there's showing the customer the issue, bringing them back to the bay, actually showing them, or snapping a video is best.
That's my favorite. I love that we do that. Whenever a vehicle comes over to the main shop and we have technicians diagnosing certain issues, sometimes it can take a couple days. But whenever we get to that time of where, hey, we've got the diagnosis, it happened just yesterday. My customer didn't even know that something was damaged, and because of the video and the problem that she had, I was able to go, "Here, this is exactly what happened. This makes sense." And she ended up calling me. He's like, "That is so cool. Thank you so much for being able to send me a video. That is so neat. Nobody does that." And that's not that nobody does that. It's just we started doing it a lot earlier than everybody else.
I understand that, and it's becoming more and more common that people that other industries are doing it, or more and more people in the automotive industry are doing it for sure. And so, but as a consumer, for me, I would rather instead of you just, so I call you up, I have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. Let's say it's a issue with my HVAC system, or a issue with plumbing or something automotive. I'm calling a business. I'm not looking for a price, because you have no idea what's wrong with it.
Right.
Like, we can guess all day long, but I don't want you to tell me a number, because when you tell me a number, that's the number in my head that I feel like it's going to cost to take care of it. Right. So then when you turn around and now, okay, instead of what we thought it was, it's now this, and that's 5 times more. Like, I'm questioning, okay, well, is that right? Are you sure it wasn't that other part that we really thought it was going to be, or something along those lines? And so that's the point, I guess, I was trying to get to, is that now, granted, an oil change is a little bit different story, because you know exactly what you're doing, but much past that, and you take phone calls all day long, I take phone calls all day long, and I understand people, they want to be educated on their issue or situation, but until you
don't lie to them. You sit in your office all day long and just take naps. I understand. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Yep. uh, but when you until you look at it, you're just guessing.
Yeah.
I guess is my point
I
at
agree.
that. And now again, I do agree, oil change, tire rotation, completely different story. That's
Correct.
a maintenance item. It should be a set price. Hey, this is what it's going to cost to do that. You want this synthetic oil, here that is too. And there's a lot of services that we have that are like that are menued item prices.
Right.
And so that was the other thing that we were discussing as part of this meeting, is just making commodities more affordable. And what I mean by that is, standardized brake prices. So pads, for example, or wiper blades, or be competitive in that price point. Have a quality product, be competitive in the price, and let the dealers then go out and generate menus for menued priced items, so that an advisor can quickly quote. We do that here already, but there are some stores that, because, for example, a brake pad for an F-150 is not going to be the same price as a brake pad for a Transit Connect, right? And so there are stores out there that those advisors have to literally go through and price out pads and how much they are. And I mean, think of the complexity level in that.
Oh yeah. And you can't I don't think you can even turn rotors on a Transit.
So not off car.
Yeah.
You can on car, but not off car.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah.
And then the other thing and this is not specific to Ford, but just manufacturers in general, is they get into these one-time use parts. So for example, on a brake job, you may have a nut or a bolt or something that
Caliper
is
slide pin.
That is a part of that brake job, or when you service the brakes, that you should be replacing. The bolt will stretch. It's not going to torque correctly. It could potentially back out or loosen back up. And no disrespect to the aftermarket guys, but one, they're not potentially, or a large quantity of them, I assure you, are not doing that. One, just because it's lack of knowledge and they don't know that that has to be done. So now you have a manufacturer that is going by the book of what is recommended to replace those components and perform that job. And then you have an aftermarket company out there that's, for all intents purposes, whether it's lack of knowledge or just lack of interest of completing it correctly or whatever, keeping the cost down, making it cheaper. So now I'm being compared to a guy that's doing half the job.
Not only that, there are so many aftermarket brake pads. It's a good example that don't come with brake hardware.
Okay.
And Motorcraft do. So it's like you're comparing apples to oranges. They're fruits, but they're totally different fruits. And so like that's a good example. The brake pad situation. It's like, well, I can go get brake pads for $75 and your guys' brake pads are, $85. And it's like, well, yeah, but does it come with this? Does it come with this? Does it come with this? And we have lifetime brake pads. Are those lifetime? I mean, it's really, really kind of it's really complex.
So, and I'd even take that a step further when and this is, all OEM components or parts. So you're putting an OEM part back on there. That vehicle was, when it went down the assembly line, there was specifications that it had to meet, whether it's stopping distances, whether
I'll even go a step further, not even down the assembly line. When that vehicle was blueprinted and designed, there was an engineer involved, and he wanted these brake pads, this suspension specs, this specs, and that we're going to design this part for this specific vehicle
and to work with all of the other components on the vehicle in its completion, right? And so now when you go to replace a component, when you're OEM, it's has to meet those same guidelines,
right?
Now you look at an aftermarket, and there may be situations or scenarios where in a specific category that the aftermarket component was maybe designed or engineered to be perform better, but how how does it stack up with all of the other components and systems on the vehicle
Right.
to make the vehicle operate? And in a lot of cases, with an aftermarket component, you know, they're going through and um, they're going through and um, with an aftermarket component, they're going to go through and modify that thing to where it fits
4 different vehicles,
4 different model lines, so they
Yeah.
have to carry less SKU numbers.
Yeah. And that's and you're exactly right, but I kind of use the example as well with tires, because they make one tire that fits several different vehicles, right?
Yep.
So they are trying to make the correct size, but they need to meet the tread wear, temperature, traction control, all of these other things to be able to fit as many vehicles as possible, because that incentivizes them to sell more tires. So that's basically what the aftermarket components, steering, suspension, brakes, all of these things, that's what they're trying to do as well. And so I kind of use that example to try to make it make more sense. They want to sell tires. So if that tire is the correct size, that's an option that a customer has. So that's just something to think about, I guess.
Agree. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Let's see here.
Did you get a call from Delbert?
I did. Delbert, I got you here. Let me see what I can do to get you on. I don't know if we're having phone issues here or not, but let me see. We will make that happen. So anyways, let's go to the phones and talk to Delbert. Delbert, you're on
Good
live with
morning,
Under the Hood.
Josh.
I don't know. That was a kind of an unconventional way of doing that, but hey, you're here. We got you. So
Yeah, she's new. She said she was new. It's her first day, so I don't know who she is, but
That's all right.
we got it.
very good.
Yeah, I'm on your side on this whole situation with the oil changes and getting the parts in the right parts to come with your brake pads and all that. You know, I've changed many brakes over my lifetime just for myself, but
Uh-huh.
there's just so much that can go wrong with your bolts. I mean, they're rusty. They have some corrosion on them, depending on the type of bolts you have. I mean, there's so much different stuff that it
This,
just makes sense to get the right parts and get all the right stuff in that
This
brake parts.
yeah, this last week I ran into a situation with a customer. The vehicle had been in with us previously. It had been 6 months previous, something like that. At that point, we had told them that it needed brakes. It wasn't, if I remember right, it was just a kind of a cautionary thing, like, hey, in the future you're going to need to do this. So fast forward now, about 6 months later, the customer decided to replace them themselves, which, you know, I've got no problem with that, right? Like if make it happen, get it done. So they put brake pads on it, and then it came back, or they brought it back to us. It was, I don't know, 2 or 3, probably 3 weeks later, and what they were experiencing, but basically it felt like something was dragging, meaning like in a differential or a drive line or something was hung up on it. Well, what it was when they replaced the pads on it and they extracted the calipers to put the new pads in there. I'm assuming probably maybe not right tool something, but it broke the caliper and it would not slide. So they had put brand new brake pads on it, and it had chewed completely through them. It had worn through the rotor. It had cracked the rotor. Like it was,
Wow.
it was insane how hot that would have got.
dang.
I mean, I think of all the situations or things that could have happened. You know, it could have been a fire. It could have been a wreck. It could have been a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And that's something, again, nothing against what they did or wanting to work on your own vehicle or anything like that, but it's just could have been avoided. And I think of the expense that added up with all of those different things, not to mention just the time and headache. You know?
Yeah, and I can think of a lot of things they did wrong trying to get that brake pads changed. I mean, I know you can probably think of more from doing this all your
Sure.
life, but it's just myself. I can think of 4 or 5 different things that they could have done wrong to cause that.
Oh yeah. And I'm saying,
Yeah, that's the best thing to do is, changing that to just an oil change. Okay, maybe you just offer, hey, if you just want an oil change, here's the price.
Sure.
But if something, we're going to still look at your car a little bit while we're there,
Mhm.
and make sure that you're not having some other major issues, oil leak somewhere or transmission oil leak or something to that effect. Just try to, hey, we're at least looking at your vehicle in the area that we're at. Where these little oil change companies, they just do the oil change, they're done in 10 minutes and you're out the door. And like, what oil are they putting in there in the first place? It's not the right oil either.
You are 100% correct. I experience that on a regular basis now, more than I understood before. Like it shocks me whenever like I hear all the time that somebody gets their oil changed in 30 minutes, and I'm just kind of like, dude, I don't think all the oil was drained out of your car.
Well,
in
and
30
exactly.
minutes.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about the 10-minute oil change.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, they advertise 10-minute oil change. Come on, you cannot get all that oil out in 10 minutes.
No. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, as a consumer, there's places you can go that you never even get out of the car.
Yeah, you
and
just drive over.
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
deal,
talking
they-
about. Yeah.
And I think of, I don't know, I think of that, and it's mind boggling.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And I didn't
for
mean to
sure.
give a name of
Well,
the way, but
it's okay.
they literally advertise 10-minute oil change. So
No, we
can't help
we
it's the name of the business, but
Yeah. we bleep that part out.
Yeah. Technology Josh did push the beep, but no, he didn't. Anyway, but yeah, no, especially as of late, the last like 6 months, I know how fast a good like oil change, tire rotation, and inspection takes whenever we're dead, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a good hour and 10 minutes if they do it exactly correct in the best way possible with torquing the wheels down, all that stuff. If you go in and change your oil in 10 minutes, something ain't right. It ain't right.
Yeah, and even when I did it at home, I would let the oil drain for 15, 20 minutes before I
Yeah.
go back underneath there. And okay, I'll put the plug back in now.
Mhm.
I haven't done it in many years, but that's what I used to do. It's like, just let it drain out, let it sit out. And then of course, when you're doing it at home, you don't have the engine level, you have it angled.
Yeah.
Angled.
'Cause
So
you
you're
gotta get
not
up
going to get all
under
the
it.
oil out at home
Yeah.
anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I can just speak from experience from saying that your guys' oil changes, your works packages have lengthened the lifetime of my tires, my engines. I mean, I will speak to you know how many cars I go through. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so even when I didn't have free stuff, I'd come to you guys.
I'm talking. I was talking with a gentleman the other day. His goal is 500,000 miles on his pickup.
Yeah.
And he was, I don't know, 450, all original, original motor, original
Oh, wow.
transmission, original differentials. He didn't get there by not maintaining it or not, doing maintenance
Right.
on it. But I do believe, I think
Exactly,
he'll make
yeah.
it, and I think he'll,
Yeah.
I think he'll cruise on more, for sure. So
I see a
We
lot.
can all hope to get that out of vehicles. There's so
Well-
many components that can go wrong on some of these vehicles these days. You just can't guarantee that.
So I would agree with what you're saying. I would also say that you can just hope to get there, or you can get there with intent.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yes,
and that's
exactly,
two different
yes.
processes. If you're winging a prayer, you're probably not going to make 500,000, but if you do it with
Although
intent,
once in a while,
Yeah.
somebody makes it.
yeah.
Well, and my example that I deal with a lot of fleet companies and stuff like that, but the one that I always point out is Leadfoot Express, because they have these transits that come in that have 400,000 miles, because all they're doing is just driving across
Mhm.
country and delivering stuff. And it's insane how often that they service those vehicles to try to get them to last as long as they do. But they're doing trips every day that are 1,000 miles. So imagine changing your oil and doing service like once a week. That's basically
Right.
what they're doing to service those vehicles to make them last.
And I can't imagine, them thinking that what is it now, $200 for a works package? is not worth it to them to keep those vehicles running. So,
And that's the shocking thing is a works package here is $69.95, oil change, tire rotation, topping off all fluids, and
oh, sorry, I misquoted.
Yeah, that's
No,
okay.
the $200 works package is all these other dealerships
Yeah.
I mean, I've got relatives that have different makes and models and stuff like that, and they're telling me how much they're paying for stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? First of all, why aren't you calling me? Second of all, that's too much. Give me a shout.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Give you a chance to earn the business, nothing else.
they
'Cause
they just don't want
you
to
guys
me.
hire some of the best mechanics out there. You pay them well, and they do a great job.
Oh, that's true.
So, and people got to understand that because you pay them well, your prices might be just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the oil changes. $69 is not a high oil change.
Yeah. No, understand that completely. Every we were talking about this last night, just about even I mean every industry, even the fast food industry, everybody wants to make as a starting wage of
$22.
$22 an hour to start out, and like it just from a math, consumers are just going to end up paying more for a basic something
I've been
basic
saying
or
that
a
for
regular
decades,
service.
man. They got to get prices down at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Prices got to come down at the top before they can come down at the bottom. You're never going to get there unless you do.
Sure.
I mean, maybe that's a little political, but hey.
Understand that completely. So, well, very good. Well, Delbert, we appreciate the call this morning, and thanks.
So this could be why you weren't getting calls. Just
yeah,
in
it
case you
sounds like I've got something that I need to be looking into for sure.
So great conversations this morning, gentlemen. Keep it up, man.
All
This
right,
is
man.
awesome.
Very good.
Delbert.
Thanks,
I
Delbert.
love you guys.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
See
You
ya.
too. Bye. So hey, 316-462-3673. That sounds like I was going to message her this morning and see maybe what was going on there. But great, definitely conversation on that. So the next thing I had on my list
Was my 14-year anniversary.
was your 14-year anniversary.
Look at that. I'll be darned.
Happy anniversary,
Thanks,
Scotty.
buddy. Appreciate it.
I was 18. I don't know, 4 days ago.
Oh
something like
God,
that.
we're
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
So-
14 years with Mel Hamilton Ford. Josh is 18 years with Mel Hamilton Ford.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then so looking at the calendar calendar for next week,
Mhm.
the temperatures
Hot.
got hot, hotter, hottest, hotter, and hot again.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna suck.
maintenance on vehicles
Yeah.
in the heat
Oh yeah.
and importance there, and what we see typical more influxes of with summertime stuff like that.
Talking about air conditioning.
Well, so air conditioning was
diagnosing.
definitely one of the things that I was heading down, but just I don't think the average consumer understands or realizes that it doesn't matter what fluid is in your car.
Mhm.
Typically people think of fluids as a lubricant. And it lubricates stuff, right?
Yeah.
But predominantly, or one of the main tasks of all the fluids is to extract heat from components.
Yes, all of them.
And so as that fluid ages, its ability to work at a cooler temperature
Dissipates.
dissipates. So then it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter in those components.
Yep.
But if its job is to keep those components cool, every day it ages, every time it heat cycles, you're losing that ability to cool those components.
Correct.
And again, it doesn't matter what fluid it is, whether it's a brake fluid or an engine coolant or an engine oil. People think of an engine overheating and they think more coolant than anything, but your oil does more for cooling your
Correct.
engine than the coolant does. The oil, it's the oil's job to get the heat out of the motor, and then it's the coolant's job to get the heat out of
Right.
the oil,
Yes.
essentially.
I mean, realistically, you drain all the oil out and you try to run your vehicle. The reason why it locks up is because everything expands because of heat.
because it gets hot.
Because it gets hot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And
So-
so, I guess where I'm headed with that is, and I think, for the most part, consumers understand that, yeah, I need to change my engine oil.
I need to change my engine oil is the first thing people think of.
But it's all the other fluids that are
Right.
associated with that vehicle, I guess, is where I'm headed.
Yeah.
And people think of coolant in the winter times for sure, but they're
In the
thinking of
summer.
it.
Antifreeze in the summer, coolant or other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, coolant in the winter, antifreeze in the summer.
Yeah.
But they think of it more for a freeze point at that point, and not so much the cooling aspects of it. So, I've got a comment here. So brake fluid shouldn't be black. That's exactly
kidding.
true.
Yep, that's true.
Some don't understand. That's dirt. So yes, the brake fluid is another huge one, and for me on the excuse me, on the brake fluid portion of it. But we talk about heat cycles, and every time that brake fluid heat cycles, it's going to drop the boiling point in that brake fluid, and so then brake fade is going to happen much sooner. And so
Brake fluid's a good one.
it really is,
because that fluid is so pertinent for you stopping it, and it also like wants to get moisture. Like it is pulling for water to come into that system.
Mhm.
And water is what damages your brake components, like your calipers, your hoses, all of that stuff. And so it's a really, really good one to talk, because it gets hot.
Yeah.
That fluid gets hot. It's stopping your car. And you have all of these modules. You have all of this stuff now that brake fluid goes through the HCUs and stuff like that. And so, every 30 is what I suggest.
Yeah, I got a question here. It says, how often do you recommend on flushing the brake system?
Every 30.
And yeah, so depends on. So for me, my answer again, going back to the multi-point inspection, depends
Right.
on use, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
somebody. Performance car, maybe a little harder on the
okay.
brakes,
Okay. Yeah, that's
somebody
a good point.
towing a boat, or something towing more often, versus somebody that's, on the highway all day, your
Yeah, that's
Leadfoot
true.
Express that are driving,
Oh
them,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That's
cross country, and they get in and start it up and run it. So
Yeah. That's a good
to
point.
me, it's 100% going back on how you operate it, but typically 2 years, 30,000 miles
Yeah.
is kind of a good blanketed thing for there. But again, we've got test strips where we can test the actual fluid itself, and help you identify that as to what that need is. But just if I was to throw a blanketed statement out there, it'd be around 2 years or 30,000 miles on the brake fluid for sure.
But at least every time that you change the brakes or work on the brakes, you bleed the system anyways. Put new fluid in it, because that's just, the smart thing to do. And I see the comment comes in about power steering fluid too, and that, while that's an important fluid as well, it's kind of being phased out because they're all electrical systems, most of them now.
Yeah, more and more vehicles and manufacturers are going to electronic power steering for sure. But also, if you have steering fluid, it's just as
pertinent.
crucial.
Yep, just
for
as
sure.
pertinent.
So let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, need to see gotta put the eyes on it for a visual inspection for sure.
Yeah, that's what I do every day. I freaking love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, very much so. So in the heat, be consistent, or be mindful of the fluids, and just understand that that's a transfer of heat.
Yeah.
And that's what those fluids jobs are. That's the jobs of the fluids, to transfer that heat out of those components.
That's right.
To keep them cool and make them last longer for sure.
Yeah, that's like 80% of their job is temperature dispersion. To be kind of honest, that's what they're doing. They're there to lubricate in a lot of situations, but they have to disperse the heat. Otherwise, you're going to have parts fail. So
very good. Very good. Well, hey, Scotty, I appreciate you hanging out with
Yeah.
me, and
I gotta go back to work.
yeah, I know you got a list of things to do. I've got quite a few things to do. Sorry about the call-in side of this thing. I'll do some investigation on that, and we'll get that geared up and ready to go for next week for sure. But really want to thank all the loyal listeners. Love all the comments in the chat. Appreciate you guys for commenting there for sure. Next time we'll have it fixed up to where you can call in next week and
No worries.
get you squared away there. But yeah, Scotty, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me today. And then we'll do it again soon for
Sounds
sure.
good.
So
I'm sure we will.
We'll talk to everybody next week. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.